Ladies and gentlemen, Matt did not plan on jamming right now. I should have done a heads
I
up.
swear, just come to Gaslamp. Everything's planned there. You'll get it.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Brick by Brick. I'm your host, Brad Critchfield, and with me today, Lakewood's favorite 80s cover band, Matt. Thanks for coming, man.
Hey, thanks for having me, Brad. This is great. I love the setup, and thanks for the Knight Ryder sign.
No problem. And again, I'm glad you didn't mind the gradient.
No, not at all. I think it adds a nice pop to it.
I think it makes it pop.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I was gonna say.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming. I know we actually talked about it a while ago, but I'm so glad you finally made it in.
Yeah.
You have a very interesting situation because I don't see many cover bands that have the following that you do.
Mm.
So I want to learn like how that happened and just learn a little bit more about you.
Well, I can say, it didn't happen overnight. Knight Ryder's definitely been a band for a very long time. Without aging myself too much, I can tell you in July, I've been in the band for 17 years. So that puts things into perspective. So being that we've been the same name, the same roughly group of guys, we've
Same
had
spelling too?
same spelling.
Okay.
We've had one a bass player change, but other than that, it's been the same people for a solid 17 years, every Friday at the Gaslamp in Long Beach. So I think that helped kind of solidify, us in that neighborhood and the surrounding neighborhoods, which is great. I mean, especially when we come to Lakewood for the concerts in the park, those are some of our biggest turnouts. So we're just
crazy.
So excited that people are still coming out after all these years.
Yeah, I mean, you literally have to show up at 10 o'clock in the morning if you want to get a spot.
That's amazing to do that after the concerts in the park.
And 17 years is awesome to stay a band. Like anybody who's been in a band knows how hard it is to keep the band. And one bass player change. I mean, it's the bass.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was the bass player, which I always say like the bass player is, and this is not a dig on bass players because there's some phenomenal bass players, but it's usually just the worst guitar player out of the group of friends gets put on the bass.
I won't say anything about our current bass players, but Dave, our original bass player, I mean, he also had a great voice too. So he was a really good piece. And, unfortunately when he passed away, we were, it's like, how do you do this? How do you kind of, replace somebody that was so pivotal to this band? And luckily, we were all friends with Ed, who came in. And now it's, it seems like he was there from the get-go. I mean, he's been in the band now for, I think 8 years now, Ed. You can correct me if I'm wrong, but, it's just, he came in and didn't skip a beat.
That's got to be tough,
so
replacing somebody like that.
Yeah. I mean, it was hard. And we still, to this day, the band won't really do too many Police songs because that was Dave's bread and butter.
Yeah.
And so we're always like, all right, keep that as the tribute to him.
Yeah.
Maybe one every once in a while.
Yeah, I always, when bands do have to, unfortunately, rearrange when people pass, it does seem like some bands really struggle to keep it together after that.
Yeah, I mean, especially playing with people for, so long, you become basically like a family, and, losing a piece of that family, it's hard to continue moving forward and to, be able to do what you had been doing in the same light. It almost has to kind of morph a little bit into something different. And, we were lucky, like I said, to find, somebody who really fit our style and probably helped, continue, help us continue to do it for so long.
And how long you been? 17 years?
So 17 for me. The band originally started 2 years before that.
Tell me about that.
So again, from what I gather, it was Travis, our lead guitar player, and Rick, our drummer, and then the former bass player, Dave Gonzalez. They all met and decided to start a Loverboy tribute band.
What is that?
So the band Loverboy, they play that song "Working for the Weekend." They have a few other hits, but
Working
again,
for the Weekend?
pretty obscure. See, the fact that you don't even know it doesn't come to ring a bell.
Give me the chorus.
It's the everybody's working for the weekend.
Nothing.
Okay. Well, just so you know, obviously that didn't last because they wouldn't have been continuing to do it. But they wanted it, based on that fact, they wanted to kind of be an obscure 80s band. They wanted to play the songs and some of the bands that, you know, people weren't normally listening to.
The B-side stuff.
Yeah. And then at the same time, they were doing, you know, Jesse's Girl and some of the popular ones. But this was also back in, let's see, so that would have been 2005 is when they started.
Okay.
2004, 2005. So, you know, 80s cover bands weren't super popular at that point. There weren't a ton of them out there.
Right.
And
wasn't far enough removed from the
exactly.
the 80s.
And so, yeah, they just kind of, they struck up a following, started, I believe, in Laguna Beach at O'Malley's. It's one of the Irish bars down there. And then when Gaslamp opened, they started playing there as like the resident house band.
Gaslamp before it was it the Fish?
It was Live Bait.
Live Bait.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They had so many stories about that place. I mean,
Right?
they had some interesting. They had an interesting setup inside and outside.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
They
it
used to
was
have some
fun.
interesting events too. I think they had like
believe
a Little People Wrestling one time, and
Yeah,
they used to get a little, you know, loose.
that makes sense. They used to have cages too in there, dancing cages, as well as a sand volleyball court out
Really?
back.
Really?
Mhm.
Oh, I remember that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
do you
back.
remember that one?
So being a band that has such a following, like did that, I know it didn't happen overnight, but what do you think about you guys that people really grabbed onto?
For me, I feel like it's the energy of the band, the fact that we can kind of cycle through so many different, you know, styles of music, but still kind of bring it, you know, together in a show and not, you know, have to, you know, basically not pull from, you know, stuff that doesn't sound good. Like we're able to perform these songs and engage with the crowd and, you know, keep that energy up for all those years. The show hasn't really changed that much. We're doing, you know, different songs, but for the most part, it's still the same thing. It's consistent, you know, good music, and people enjoy that.
Tell me about a time you tried a song and it didn't land.
So every year on any band member's birthday, we basically say you can pick any song you want. The rest of the band has to learn it. Doesn't have to be 80s, 90s, whatever you want. And sometimes the band members will decide, oh, they want to sing it. And I'm like, that's great. You know, I enjoy it. I'll get some video footage of it. And the best train wreck I can remember was Ed, our bass player, on his birthday, he wanted to play a song called Only a Lad by Oingo Boingo.
Okay.
And it's very technical. I don't know if you remember the song. It's again, one of their obscure ones. But there's so many time changes, and everybody just couldn't get on the same page. And when you dig yourself in a hole that deep in the middle of a technical song like that, it's hard to come out.
Very.
So yeah, I got some good video, and we all laughed about it. And now it's the running joke of, you know, let's make sure it's not only a lad.
Right.
It's like everybody needs to know their stuff.
Now I gotta listen to the song.
Yeah, check it out. It's pretty intricate.
And he sang it too?
He did.
Well, at least he was the one singing it if it crashed.
Yes. So yeah, and there was a couple points I think where he just decided to stop because it was literally that bad. So
In the middle of the song?
In the middle of the song.
That's tough. That nobody wants to do.
No, and especially, you know, you're doing it in front of a crowd of, you know, a couple hundred people. You're just like, okay, sorry, we'll get to the next one.
Yeah, there's a certain look you give your bandmates when you're like you're getting on the same page with the nonverbals of like we're gonna stop now.
Yeah,
Yeah,
pretty
it's-
much.
Can we try to hit the landing? And then it still doesn't happen.
Usually my signal is I'll throw my hand behind my back, and it's like, all right, just end it wherever we're at. We've been doing this for too long.
You got that MLB thing going, so you just use like
Yeah,
hand signals.
little signal for
So
'em.
that's the signal of like the songs. We gotta wrap it up.
Yeah, usually either if it's something's been going on too long or there's a problem and people aren't, you know, connecting with each other, that's usually I'll throw the hand behind the back, and that means like, all right, on the next, you know,
Right.
4 count, let's just be done.
You ever like given the signal on accident? Because you do a lot of
I know.
moving. Like
I think maybe I have. I'm trying to remember now if these ever stop suddenly. But usually it's like it's back there,
So
and
it's
then
like-
I'm like, yeah,
you gotta
it's
like
a
you're
little,
trying to scratch your neck.
yeah, a little predominant. So
Yeah. What's the hardest, most difficult song for you to perform on stage? vocal wise?
Yeah, for me,
You do Michael Jackson. I mean, you do everything. You have a great range.
yeah, thank you. I'm still trying to work on the AC/DC tone without, blowing out my voice.
Right.
It's a very specific style of kind of like scream singing.
Yeah.
And so every time one of those comes up, I'm like, all right, I hope I have enough kind of stamina to get through it. So I still kind of power through those ones.
Yeah.
But that's probably one of the hardest ones. Any kind of time where we'll switch genres like one after the other, which
Right.
we like to do because it makes it interesting. But to sing a style like a Metallica song and then to jump into like Wham or Madonna and then go back to Guns N' Roses, changing those kind of tones, that sometimes can be a little difficult,
Right.
a little bit of a struggle.
Now, when you do your songs, do you try to stay true to the original song, or are there some songs where you take some liberty?
I'd say it's probably a bit of both.
Yeah.
In the beginning when I first started, I was really into like staying, true to the artist. Like I want to even get to the point where when I'm performing it, I feel like I'm, basically in their shoes and the words that they wrote, like I'm saying it as they would be saying it. To try and get in that character, I felt gave me a more authenticity in the song.
Right.
And then, as we would do the songs over and over again, because I want to say, probably saying "Don't Stop Believin'" at least 1,000 times.
Yeah.
Then sometimes you might want to start getting a little artistic liberties in there and
Right.
trying some different techniques and just to keep it fresh.
Right.
To be honest with you.
And even the bands that originally performed them, a lot of them have those stories of like not wanting to play their teen spirit, right?
Yeah.
So do you ever feel that way with like say "Don't Stop Believin'"? Like where you like kind of feel like you're all right, here we go.
Yeah, but I also am like, look, I know what I signed up for.
Right,
Like
right.
this is the the type of band that we are, and I honestly I like when the crowd is energized. Sometimes regardless of whatever song we're doing, if I can feel their energy, then it doesn't matter what I'm singing. It makes up for it.
And you do get a lot of energy from the crowd. I mean, dude, I think I saw an old lady breakdancing last time. I mean, they really like get pumped up.
They feel it, and honestly, I'm feeling it right there with them. Just moving through every song, it's fun to kind of get that crowd energy going.
Now, when you're staying true to the song and you're performing, do you try to undertake some of like mannerisms? Do you feel like performatively you try to like is your performance and then the song changes? Or do you think from song to song, like the energy on stage and how you move and like are you feeling a different shoe?
Well, I can't dance, so just so you know, my performance is basically high energy with me trying to move around to the beat. So yeah, I would say it changes song to song. Sometimes I'll think I'm a little bit better of a dancer than I am, but that's usually just me trying to be in the character. Like
Right.
I'm singing Michael Jackson. Sometimes you feel like you want to move like Michael
That's
Jackson.
a dangerous
but
one.
yeah, that's something that I won't even attempt.
Yeah.
So I'll just kind of slide, and that's about it.
Number one most played song that you've done.
Jesse's Girl.
Okay.
Surprisingly, more so than Don't Stop Believin'. And I wish I had the stats with me, but there is a running tally. And that one, I want to say, has been performed almost every single Friday night
Really?
that we've been playing.
Do you take requests or do you have a set list?
We do. So we write a set list ahead of time before the show. Travis is usually the one who writes it. And then he'll send it like on like a Thursday. So everybody looks at the songs for like a day or two. If there needs to be any changes, they'll reach out. And then we say from the get-go, if there's something, you want to hear, if you're celebrating, a big birthday or anniversary and there's a song that's special to you, let us know. And we usually try and put as many of the requests in that we can between the second and the third set. So the first set's like, all right, let's nail this.
Right.
Then let's start taking the requests, feel out the vibe of the crowd, and then just, go from there.
Yeah. Because that way, if you do take a gamble, they're probably already drunk by then.
Right. They're drunk. They're into it. They're like, all right.
They've already made up their mind about you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. They're still there. They haven't left yet.
Yeah. They're still doing the Michael Jackson.
Exactly.
As good as they can.
And, not to mention, as bad as you train wreck or if a song doesn't go over, you always have that next opportunity. And if you can throw a hit in there, it doesn't matter.
So what's the ace up the sleeve?
It's the Journey, it's the Bon Jovi, the Guns N' Roses, any of the like the big anthem songs. People want to sing along. Prince. There's a lot of, if you can kind of gauge the crowd, and
Yeah.
so we can tell like this is way more a dancey crowd. So
Yeah.
we'll get more into the new wave, the Prince and the Depeche Mode, the Duran Duran stuff, and then we can tell, oh well, this crowd is really loud. They're singing along back to us, every single word. So then we'll start hitting some more anthem songs, kind of feel it out. But overall, I mean, it's a blend.
Every time you play a show, if you're not at Gaslamp, because you probably have that, those monitors and like that whole system, like it's like your own probably by now because you've used it so much, right?
Yeah.
But like when you play different shows, how important is the sound check?
It's pretty important, I would say, depending on where we're at. A lot of times when we do private shows outside of Gaslamp, whoever hires us also hires the sound company that we work with a lot. So he has us dialed in just like
a preferred
Gaslamp.
vendor. Like this is who we use.
So outside of that, it's really just kind of like the concerts in the parks and stuff like that. And so, yeah, I would say it's important to make sure you can get that line dialed in because, if we can't hear, it makes it a little bit more difficult.
Have you ever had to like power through a set with like you're doing a concert in a park somewhere and like the sound is just not what it needs to be, and like how do you handle that?
Oh yeah. I mean, it's tough, but I remember, backyard shows with original bands from my youth and stuff like that. You don't always have monitors. Sometimes you just got to listen to whatever you can catch on stage, and you just kind of power through it. My biggest thing is trying to make sure I notice, because when you don't have monitors, you tend to push and sing a lot more powerful because you want to hear yourself.
Right.
And so that's the quickest way, for me, having to sing for like 2 hours, it's the quickest way to lose it. Mm-hmm. So I have to kind of be conscious of that when we don't have any monitors.
I realized that because I started playing guitar when I was 15, and I had a guitar instructor, and I've always had a hard time singing. Like I can't sing a single song, but I can play. But
that's not true.
So I hear you, but it's always been a real challenge. And like, don't get me wrong, when no one's looking, like I'll sing and play. Mm-hmm. But my guitar instructor said, take your acoustic into the bathroom and play in there. And then when I did that, I realized it just because of the acoustics in there, like I could hear myself, and I realized like it was so much easier to control. And it was like the same thing with monitors. I played in a band, but I was like the worst guitar player, so I was the bass player. So the quality of the monitors and the sound, like I remember playing at DPI's before they even got anything near what they have now.
Yeah.
And then I played like my first real show at the Whiskey, and I was like, man, is this how, like they made us sound so much better than we really were.
Right.
Like they were doing magic in the back. So it's just, you don't even think about that stuff like when you don't play shows.
Yeah. I mean, people in the crowd will tell us, you guys something sounded different or something sounded off tonight. And it's like, you can tell when the sound's not up to par. It really shows. The band's true colors really show.
Yeah.
Sometimes we make it through, sometimes we don't.
Mm-hmm. And you, I think when people think of a band, and if you're not, in your teens or, in your 20s, they have like an idea of it. Like you're a working professional. You have a full-time job.
Right.
I'm going to guess everybody in the band has a full-time job to some capacity.
Everybody but the bass player.
Okay. Is it different, like does that change like what you think of like being a band is? It's almost like just like being a professional musician, and it's awesome that you work with your friends, but it seems much more professional. Not like when people think of like, oh, you're in a band. Cool.
Yeah. And I think that the distinguishing factor between that is, playing original music versus, performing the covers. You have the money factor involved in that is probably at least the initial reason why, some of us chose to kind of get into this was we could play music that we loved and enjoyed and get paid, pretty decently for it.
Yeah.
So I think that, factors into us as a band, as well as the fact that we don't tour. We come
Right.
together once, twice, three
Never?
times a week. Knight Ryder doesn't. Yeah.
Okay.
And we all have, in another capacity at a different time. So I feel like coming together once or a couple times a week to play, a specific gig, it's a lot easier to kind of get along with those people. Everybody has a
Right.
common goal. We want to succeed, and we're not around each other too much to where you would
Right.
get, irritated.
Right. And you're not pulling each other away from your families, and there's no resentment.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, that's a big thing, right?
Yeah, everybody's going into it from the get-go because they enjoy it and because it's a job.
Yeah. I always wondered about that with that. So if you're an original band
Mm-hmm.
and you just do a cover in the middle, I feel like that's kind of like cheating. Where if you're a cover band, it's all good. I always I remember hearing something, and it's probably just not true. I probably just heard, but when you do that, when you're covering it, you have to change it a certain amount, or is it? Did I just make that up?
So that's what I prefer. I feel like if you're doing kind of what Knight Ryder does, we're more of a tribute band. We're
Right.
paying tribute to these songs by playing them, the way they were written. If you're an original band and you want to play a cover, I feel like you need to throw your own style and
Right.
spin
It has
to
to be obvious that you did something different to it. There's a creative, because
Right.
otherwise you're just trying to. Because I've seen bands do that.
Yeah.
They'll play a B-side track that they hope no one's ever heard of before, but I'm like, that was Three Doors Down. I listened to all
Yeah,
of the tracks.
I know that.
That's number 12.
Nice.
But with so is there a stigma between on cover band? Is tribute band? I always thought tribute band was specific to the band. I guess you're specific to a genre.
Yeah, well, and that's the thing. I mean, we're really just kind of paying tribute to the music in itself. And the way I look at it as is that, paying tribute is trying to play the music to the best of, its ability, the way it was originally composed. You want to basically match that to,
Right.
as best you can. And then when you're covering something, you're basically you're performing it, but you're also kind of covering it as yourself.
Yeah.
So throwing, that originality into it, that's where I would kind of, get the distinguishing between those two.
No, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Best cover of a popular song you ever heard?
Whew, man.
Didn't know this is rapid fire, huh?
Yeah.
Serious.
I mean, we play it. I still really like the Atari's version of Boys of the Summer.
Yeah, it's a good one.
I kind of prefer it over Don Henley, and I hope that, doesn't rub anybody the wrong way.
How dare you,
I love
sir.
Don Henley's music, but that song in particular, I like the way that band performs it.
Me too. I remember that came out.
Mm-hmm.
Best show you ever played?
Best show I ever played. Performance-wise, I had the most energy, and I thought I performed the best. It was a random show. We were playing in Artesia at an old bullfighting ring, and we were
at the
in
Portuguese
the middle.
Hall?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm Portuguese. I know what's up.
Okay. So maybe you were there.
I wasn't. I don't go there, but I'm always invited.
Yeah. So they had that big tournament or whatever every year, and it was packed. So, filling out the bullfighting ring, and we're, in the middle of it, and there's probably 500-600 people, and they're just into the songs. They're jumping. They're super hyped up because they had just gotten done with a soccer tournament. Everybody's having a good time. So energy-wise, that fed into my performance, and I felt like I sounded and played the best I had ever done.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
When was that?
That was probably about 5 years ago.
Yeah.
So, again, it took, over that much time, but yeah.
Yeah.
Now, best gig, I would say, was the Radio City Music Hall in New York. I mean, I'll never forget that.
What is that?
We got lucky enough after a few Friday nights. The son of George Lopez's manager was at Gaslamp, the comedian, yeah, and he was like, "Hey, you guys, I really like your show. My dad's employee is looking for an opening band. He manages comedians and he manages George Lopez, and we're just like, who is this guy? There's no way. He's probably drunk, Friday night." And, lo and behold, then he contacted us, and his dad contacted us. And this was 2009 through 2011. And we were just jumping on doing opening for him at his comedy shows.
That's awesome.
Yeah, we did about 12 of them, and it was an amazing experience. And one of them was at Radio City in LA or in New York.
Tell me about that. What's it like opening up for a comedy show?
So it's interesting because the way it works is on his tour, it was us and then another comedian named Brian Kellen and then him.
Heard the name before.
Yeah. And it's almost weird because it's three things you wouldn't expect, to be together.
Right.
And so we get an hour slot as soon as the doors open and everybody's coming in, to their seats. And so we're just trying to play, 13, 14 of our best songs. You just put your best foot forward. So it's high energy right out of the gate. And you're playing and
what do you open up with in that scenario?
Probably like if it's a big venue, we open up with like Separate Ways by Journey.
Okay.
So it's just like, again, energy right out of the gate. Or Where the Streets Have No Name, U2 is a good one. Mm-hmm. Just to kind of get people, going out of right in the beginning. And then we'll shift, gears to some like Depeche Mode, some dancier stuff, throw in a rap song here and there just to showcase. And then end with, a big Guns N' Roses or an Anthem one. Nice. Yeah, it was fun.
So are you a fan of comedy?
Yeah, I love comedy.
Yeah, it's like I absolutely love it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I go like the Bellflower Stand-Up Club. I go there pretty often because they opened up a club like down the street. It's a nice club too.
No way. I know that.
But my wife knows like if I ever like just need like a night, like I'll go to the Comedy Store in Hollywood. I even tried it.
Really?
I did 3 shows and I bombed one, did okay, and then I kind of just like broke even on the last one. I was like, that's good enough for me.
You're like, all right, I got the experience.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. That's how I knew.
So is that like the 5-minute stand-up thing?
I think they were 2 of them were 15-minute spots.
Okay.
And I think one of them I got kicked off after 5 minutes. Turns out it was a clean show. That's awkward.
Well, yeah. I wouldn't sign up for those.
Yeah. But I absolutely like stand-up comedy. That's what got me into filming, was like doing like sketches with my friends, and then it's the same friends that I was in a band with. So it's just nice like being creative, and like if you can share that with people, like it's just fun. I actually spoke today at the Orange County School of Arts in front of a class of seniors, and I just talked about like my experience and how like music has been a part of my life, even though it's a part, it's like been interweaving into everything. Yeah. And I've always seen it as a communication tool, and then also therapy, because sometimes you're trying to get the message out to other people. So I, started writing songs, but then also I've never been academically inclined, so I wouldn't like, journal, organize my thoughts and feelings, but writing a song sounds fun.
Yeah, here's a way to get it out.
But then that's what you're doing. It's like you trick yourself into like really kind of getting in touch with yourself. And I absolutely love music for everybody. Like even if it's like learning a second language, which I've always struggled with. Yeah. It's good, and you don't have to be a musician to get something really good out of it. Mm-hmm. But I don't know. Did you have that relationship with music? I mean, you didn't obviously like did you jump into doing covers, or was it more of I want to learn an instrument?
It's a transition. So I've been into music, all my life as a kid growing up, choir stuff. I did some, performance group stuff like musical theater when I was younger. And then when I got into high school, that's when kind of the instrument vibe, started getting that itch to like want to play an instrument. Yeah. So that's when I picked up a guitar and then figured, I can sing and play guitar. I can do both. And now there's options to, join in these bands, which were super cool. So it was like, oh, this is great. So yeah, from that, it was like, I want to do this. This is a passion of mine.
What was the band or the song that made you go like, I can do that. I want to do that?
For me, I really, as a kid, like growing up, there was one CD that I would play over and over again and learn how to play out most of the songs. And it was a band called Rancid. Okay. And the record was called And Out Come the Wolves.
That's punk, right?
Yeah. And I think I was really into punk music growing up as a kid, so I started playing that stuff, and you can kind of catch on fairly quick on some of those songs. So it was just fun to be able to play
that power chord, man.
Play a full song and then sing a full song and play it at the same time. So yeah, I kind of got hooked, and then started trying to write punk music and join punk bands and do whatever I could to kind of get in my foot in the door, and then just evolve from there.
Yeah. I never got into punk, but my brother, he still plays. He plays at DP houses. He has a band called Gone to Ground. They're
Okay.
local, and he's always been just into punk. And so we always had this like thing where I've always had like very odd music taste. I think in my CD changer, dating myself,
Yeah.
I had like the Space Jam soundtrack, which was amazing.
Okay.
West Side Connections, Kid Rock, and like Billy Ray Cyrus.
Yeah.
It's like
Got all your bases covered.
this kid's gonna have to, he's gonna have to figure some stuff out. You
Uh
know?
huh.
But he was always just straight into punk. So we have like a ongoing like banter about like music and stuff. I think last year for Christmas he got me like a Creed mug because he just always made me like
Nice.
I just rock it.
Yeah.
I'm like, dude, I love it. And then NSYNC came out. I'm like, I'm down with that.
I would take
I'm
that
like,
everywhere.
Yeah, I'm just like, I've always thought like if something seemed cool, like I never like really judged it too much. It was just like, that's great. But I also never got, some bands have like a cult following, like
Yeah.
Knight Rider. But I was always just, I just like a little bit of everything,
Yeah.
like the buffet.
And I think I definitely kind of got to that stage, a little bit later in life, because then you finally realize there's so much out there. And
Yeah.
now it's like I can't find fault in anything. Everybody's just creating, something new, and
Right.
and it's just so fun to take
What
it
about-
in.
What about you? Do you still write?
So I'm starting to get back into it. Actually, I'm
Nice.
working with an original like emo style project. So I also do like an emo tribute band as well. And then the members of that band decided to like, hey, let's just see if we can write some original music, because we all used to perform this stuff originally back in the day. So we got together, and we're like a month or two in right now writing music. And it'll be
Nice.
my first time doing original music in like 10 years. So,
Nice.
yeah, I'm excited getting back into it.
What kicked you back in that direction?
I feel like I've always wanted to get back into it. It's that same thing, that struggle, like you were saying. I don't necessarily journal all the time, but it's nice to come and approach, writing a song just to get that release and get, those thoughts out.
Yeah.
So,
So therapeutic.
yeah. So I think when the pandemic hit, I was like, I want to do this. I got time. I'm going to start, trying to write some more music ideas. Then, then we had twins.
Really?
So that took up a lot of my time.
Dude, your kids are adorable too.
Yeah. Oh, I love them. And it's great too, because they're starting to get into the music thing, which is a whole nother story, which is
Really?
amazing. Yeah. But
Nice.
anyway, besides that, so it was always there, but time, wasn't on my side. And then now it's just finally starting to open back up again, and the opportunities to record. And I'm just like, all right, let's do this.
Nice. And for the Gen Zers in the audience, emo music isn't it emotional rock? Is that what it?
I would say that's probably the best way to describe it. I mean, it's something that I connect with, because when I'm performing, even with Knight Ryder, I'm trying to tap into that emotion of the performer when I do it, and the emotion that the crowd gets back. And so with this stuff, it's a lot of that, kind of belting out words, and then even getting to the point where the energy and the emotion's so intense that you might even scream certain
Right.
words. And I just love that.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So you write all the songs?
So it's me. Well, actually, the whole band writes. So we're all kind of
is it the
doing
same-
a collective.
So different.
Not Knight Rider.
Okay.
Yeah. So all different guys that I had met through
Does
the
that
years.
get awkward?
Everybody brings their own style to the table, and it makes it for a fun and interesting experience. It's new to me, and so the fact that I'm getting back into it, I'm just excited to be part of this collective idea of coming up with songs.
Do you ever play acoustic?
I do.
What do you have?
A Martin. It's
Nice.
I forget the model. It's an older one though. I've had it for so long, but it sounds great.
Martins can go either way. Like I've played Martins. They're amazing,
Hmm.
but I don't know. Like there's some where the action's a little too high.
Yeah.
And like it just kind of like doesn't feel like a Martin. I don't know. Sometimes like when they like, I think when I thought of like a Martin, say 20 years ago or 10 years ago, it was like always awesome guitar. And now I feel like, I don't know if they like started mass producing or something. But
I mean, I'm sure they probably did, but it's funny you say that, because felt the action was a little high on mine too.
Yeah.
I have a guy in Long Beach. If you're ever looking to get your guitar set up or anything like that, Bill Lanham, he does an amazing job.
Not in Signal Hill, is he?
He is.
Really?
Yeah.
I think my brother referred me to him. I haven't taken it yet, but that's the, yeah.
And I'll take
He must be, dude,
all my instruments to him.
that's an awesome thing to like, just be like, I'm just like that good.
Yeah, he knows the ins and outs. I mean, he's taken apart so many over his lifetime, and to get it dialed up.
I always wanted a white on white Telecaster, and I got one and I played it for a long time. I was like, it always sounds the same.
Yeah.
I love like that real bright jazzy sound. I got really into jazz, and then I wanted a Paul Reed Smith because that's the Mark Tremonti from Creed signature.
Oh yeah,
so I was like, oh yeah, that's cool.
Gotta get that.
Gotta get that.
Oh man, I mean the PRS is something you can't top that feel to.
It's nice.
They're really smooth.
Super nice. Do you have an acoustic song?
Original one? I mean, from years and years ago.
I kind of want to put you on the spot and have you play a song.
Sure about it?
I've never done that in the podcast.
I mean, I could give it a try, but we're going way back.
Okay, let's do it.
All right.
By Epiphone?
Yeah.
All right.
I mean, and I feel like that'll work more than the nylon strings for me. Yeah.
All right. We're gonna try this here. I don't know how it'll pick up.
Okay. Well, to preface all this, my early stuff was very emo, so think Dashboard Confessional. Tell me all the sights you've seen and all the places that have kept you away from me. Under the same stars, could never shine so bright inside. Make her for all the pain she hides, but we all do it sometimes. Sometimes you have to show. All I needed was something to hold on to. In love with a different point of view. Alone when the lights start to flicker. Will you be there? I can feel you moving through the airwaves, then seeping back into my head. Sleeping alone, never felt the same, 'cause I know you'll let me down. Make it a promise to be distant and fail to let me know when you're in town, so I don't get angry at nothing. You know I've heard it all before, and we tried so hard but fail with open arms. See, I told you it'd be pretty emo. Outside, she's wasting away as seasons change. When a smile's the only bit you ever needed, you catch me every time. And she's used to fighting off the silhouettes and burnt out cigarettes. If it'll get you a piece of heaven. All I needed was something to hold on to. Alone when the lights start to flicker. Will you be there? I remember part of it. 'Cause I know you'll let me down. Make it a promise to be distant and fail to let me know when you're in town, so I don't get angry at nothing. You know I've heard it all before, and we tried so hard but fell with open arms.
Love it.
Something like that.
That's awesome.
Whew, wasn't ready for that, but okay.
Hey, no, dude, nailed it. I love that chord, by the way.
I know that ring just gives it so much feeling.
Have you ever played with open tunings?
Yeah.
Love open tunings. And that's what that reminds me of. But Incubus has some songs that use that, those chords. I think,
And Drive.
yeah, and then like I think there's like one part. It's like.
You know any 80s?
I don't know.
I mean, I tell people my brain is full of 80s lyrics and Simpsons trivia, and that's it. Like I can't learn anything else.
What else
so
do you
I'm
need?
sorry. Yeah.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, it sometimes it amazes me too. It's like, all right, just give me the word, give me the first word, and then it just unlocks the
Really?
entire song. Yeah.
Man.
And I don't know how it works, but
Do you use cheat sheets?
so if it's a new song, sometime like for the first week or two, we'll try to do those ones every week. I'll have like a piece of paper with keywords on it throughout the song. So maybe like 5 or 6 words that I'll know, like if I get stuck somewhere, I'll see that word and it'll bring, at least remind me of that section of the song. And then I try to do away with those after like the second or third time.
All right, so I've noticed this with like when I go out to dinner with my wife.
Mm-hmm.
Usually, if they have like just a solo musician, they have their iPad out.
Yeah.
Do you kind of like?
I
Come on,
don't
bro.
like that.
Come on, dude.
Again, I feel like that's, well, I mean, I guess it depends on what you're going there for. If it's background, it's background. But at the same time, if I'm going to do a show, like I don't want to have, something in between me and the audience.
Right. It's kind of like a comedian like looking at their jokes. It's like,
Yeah.
do your prep work.
Yeah. Memorize the
Yeah.
stuff,
Yeah. All right. So because I pulled the guitar out and I feel like if I don't play something, I feel like I like wussed out.
That hasn't been done on these podcasts before.
It hasn't. Oh, can you do one last breath? Please calm down.
No.
Now it's
It has to be higher
higher.
for me.
All right, let's do not my sacrifice. Oh, higher. You mean higher the song?
Mm-hmm.
I thought you were talking about. That's
Little Weezer. Oh yeah. All right. Somebody's honey is crowding my icebox. Somebody's cold one is giving me chills. I guess I'll just close my eyes. Oh yeah. All right. Feels good inside. Flip on the telly, wrestle with Jimmy. Something is bubbling behind my mind. The bottle is ready to blow. Well, say it ain't so. Your love is a heartbreaker. Say it ain't so. My love is a life taker. Nice.
That's as much as I know of it.
Right.
I think that was like at least 3/4.
Yeah.
If I had the same like signals you did, I'd just always have my hand by my mouth.
You're like, okay, now we'll stop after the second verse.
Thank you for jamming.
Oh, of
I
course,
know that
man.
was a curveball. Ladies and gentlemen,
Thank you for having me.
Matt did not plan on jamming right now. I should have done a
I
heads
swear,
up.
just come to Gaslamp. Everything's planned there. You'll get it.
No, and are you playing at the Lakewood Concert Park this year?
Yes, definitely.
Awesome. Well, I think I saw a schedule actually. They already have the dates out, right?
Yeah, they do. I don't remember it off the top of my head, but we are going to post all our summer concert dates. We have, I think, like 12 of them. So
And where can people find you?
anywhere, Knyght Ryder rules on Instagram. Just spell it like it was up there, KNY.
Just use a Y wherever you would think to use a Y.
So yeah, Knyght Ryder with the K and the Y. You'll find it.
So I did get one request for a question for you. It was I'm gonna leave the person anonymous.
Sure.
Okay. How did you land such an amazing wife?
You know what?
Anonymous.
I don't know.
No, you're not gonna get me to tell you
And-
who requested that question.
I know. I'm sure. Everybody's dying to find out.
Right.
And honestly, it's just I'm fortunate. I'm lucky, I guess. And she must really like singers.
Right.
Yeah. I mean that must be it.
And you really do have
No
an
other
amazing wife.
reason why.
like your family is awesome.
Oh,
And
well, thank you.
I'm happy to hear that the twins are getting into music.
Yes, me too. I'm so excited. It's so much fun.
That's gonna make they're gonna be up on stage with you.
Oh yeah.
At some
We'll have the family band going in no time.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I love watching you perform. I've probably seen you maybe half a dozen times now. And
Well, thanks for coming back.
Always impressive. Of course. I think what you're doing is awesome. You're super talented. The whole band's talented. I'll be honest. There's a part of me I was like, I wonder if he's bringing the whole band. I'm like, my studio's not that big, but we're gonna make it
We
work.
need to do that next time.
And I even
Do a tiny office jam session.
I took my cajon off to the side just in case.
Again, we'll prepare.
Yeah, so we'll prepare. But I love what you're doing.
Thank you so much.
Super happy you came in today.
Yeah.
Glad we were able to make it. I appreciate you.
Me too. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, everybody. I'm going to do a cheesy outro now, okay, Ron? Then we're going to cut. All right? All right, everybody. Thanks for watching Brick by Brick. Tune in next. I don't know. That's cheesy, right? I don't need to say that. Just I don't know. You'll see what I post next time. It'll be awesome.
We'll see you around.
We'll see you around.
Brad.
I know. I threw the curve.
I was like, oh.